Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another Helm to Tower podcast. That's right, we are back. Hello, I'm Mike Burgess, and I'm with my friend here, Alex O'Neill. Alex, how you
What's
doing?
up? Doing good. It's Destiny time. We're about to get so much stronger as
That's
well. So
right.
it's
That
very exciting.
Yeah, very exciting. We know from this past week that just went by, the mid-season patch is going to be dropping on the 18th. That's like the day before we're recording this podcast, or the day we're recording this podcast, the day before that happens. So we'll see what other cool things are in that. We know some things like we talked about in the last episode about like some buffs to some primaries. Auto rifles are back, baby. Pulse rifles are feeling stronger. Gonna be exciting indeed. There'll be, I think there's other stuff too. They said, I don't remember everything, but I'm sure they will have a good juicy patch note, pretty full patch notes once that goes up. So that'd be cool. That'd be a cool thing this week. I will say, like overall though, we're definitely in that mid season lull for sure.
Mm-hmm.
As all things are considered, it happens. That's just the way of destiny. So that's why we took off a week. So we figured not too much would happen. Of course, they did end up dropping a Lightfall blog, kind of post-mortem blog, talking
Yeah.
about some of the stuff they've already made, updates they've already made to the game, but some of the stuff they're thinking about as we go into next season, in like a month or so. Um, so yeah, we'll talk about that blog. There's some other things in the TWABs they've talked about in the last couple weeks as well, with the weapons coming and going and all that fun jazz. But yeah, I've admittedly not been playing a lot of Destiny this week in particular. I did do a couple GMs, but I know Alex, you're telling me that you tried out some Master Raid challenges. So how did that go?
Yeah, I was the first time I played with the new master mode of raids.
Mm-hmm.
I did all the King's Fall stuff when I guess that was 2 seasons ago, Season of the Plunder. Which was great. That was kind of like my first time going week to week and doing master raid challenges, and it definitely raised my appreciation for King's Fall as a raid. And I think the challenges in that raid in particular make it even more fun
Mm-hmm.
to play because it has everybody doing a little bit of everything,
Yeah.
which is true of most like raid challenges. So I hadn't been around. I've been doing other stuff and working on other stuff, so I haven't been playing as much Destiny as well. So I haven't been doing the master challenges for the first 2 weeks. So I can't necessarily speak to those, but jumping in to the third encounter challenge, which is the planets challenge for folks who don't know,
Mm-hmm.
you have to switch all of the light side planets to the dark side and dark side planets to the light side, as opposed to kind of resetting them back to where they're supposed to be, which means you have to do the like longest form of the encounter.
Right.
And it is really, really tough. I mean, we spent 3 hours on it last night. We got to the damage phase once for point of reference. So it definitely feels like the hard part isn't the damage part, where that was true of say like War Priest.
Yeah.
It is the getting to the damage part within the extremely unforgiving time limit. So you have 2 phases of moving planets, and then you have basically half of a full phase of moving planets to get the things to the center plates for damage.
Mm-hmm.
And there's ways to like save some time, right? Like you can shoot this little thing in like the top center of the room to end the planet moving phase early to kind of bank time for later phases. But that also requires you to get those planets there early, which that I
Right.
think was what we were struggling with, because like the Colossus that spawn on the 4 platforms are now barrier champions, and you still have to get last hit on them, so people can't necessarily help you consistently to stun because you have to get last hit to move the planets. And then you have to get across the board and deposit your planets and then communicate that to everyone so somebody can shoot the the pillar at the top to kind of end things early and bank a little extra time, and
Hmm.
we were just not getting it down. And it was just brutal. It just felt like we didn't have enough time, to the point where like it felt like we were doing something wrong to
Sure.
me. So maybe there will be things that we learn and discover when this challenge comes back around in rotation to do it better. What I will say, right, is kind of first time playing with surges in that context. And I was using Outbreak as like my go-to weapon because it's anti-barrier and it's very powerful and it's good at like chipping away at other stuff. And you definitely feel it, right? Like I was running Solar Warlock and it's like, okay, Outbreak, getting the kinetic, the basically the surge buff of me just running the subclass is very substantial.
Yeah. Yep.
And I liked that. It definitely felt like I could gear myself more toward something stronger than, being at such a level disadvantage, like something that's much more powerful. Makes me wonder, like if Outbreak's about to get a 20% damage buff on top of everything.
Yeah.
Like it makes me really wonder how that's going to feel. I definitely think it would feel better than where it's at. But yeah, I like, to be honest, I don't. This is probably a controversial take. I don't love that encounter in the raid. And I know that's like generally, I feel like a lot of people's favorite encounter from the raid because it is certainly like the most interesting. And maybe it's because you're elongating it with this whole having to move 2 planets instead of 1.
Sure, yeah.
And you're really putting pressure on yourself because of the extended time limit and stuff like that. But I just, I felt what you're doing like is just like picking up a thing and moving it and waiting and killing a big guy. Like I didn't love it when I was like put to the grindstone in that way. I did, however, in my regular run of Ron this week, when we got to Nezarec, I played aggro for the first time. And I loved that, like to the point where it really changed that whole fight for me. Like it felt like a way more engaging, way more like how I would want that fight to go. Like how my role plays into that fight. I really, really liked it. And maybe that's because like when you're just doing the orbs, you're just basically doing the first encounter, but in a different context.
Right.
And this felt like a much more unique role to do in that raid. But yeah, I really loved it. It was super fun, just pissing off Nezarec and kind of getting the timing down on when to hit him and being able to communicate what buff you need to the team.
Yeah, and kind of draw him around and stuff away from people. Yeah, it's fun. It's fun.
Yeah, it's very like, it felt very MMO boss in that fun way that I like from stuff like Final Fantasy 14. So
right.
On that end of like my Root of Nightmares runs, I really, really like that. But yeah, outside of that, I just did a little bit of the legendary mission solo, which did not go well. So we can move on.
Yeah, that's still feeling that. Yeah, honestly, I forgot about the raid challenge stuff because I actually did a run of that this week as well. That's just how much Destiny is not by my mind. I completely forgot that I did that raid run with my clan, and we actually did that challenge, not on Master, but we did it on the regular just normal version of the raid. And that was an okay challenge. Yeah, like you said, it's always just like you just adding an extra step. Okay, sure, that's fine. Like I think the Destiny raids to me are more fun when you figure out that kind of very speed. I guess the to put it simply, the fastest way to do it, and when your team executes that in a fun way and like a successful way, that feels good. So when you have these challenges that are just like we're gonna kind of force you to stop these things and do it this way, like sometimes they can be okay, and sometimes they just don't feel as fun. And I would kind of agree with that. Of like it took us a couple tries to do that challenge, but we obviously we're doing it on the normal raid, so it wasn't as bad. But they always just feel like not that interesting challenges, I would say.
Yeah.
When they just are kind of like, all right, you're just doing this again, but now we're making you do the extra step instead of just doing something else, which I think some of the other challenge encounters are better at. The second one. Like the second one is like an interesting idea, although that we only gave it a couple tries in my group and did not like do a successful run of it just because it got annoying. But I at least appreciate that it is something different in like having to like have this extra layer of communication rather than like doing a whole bunch of extra steps to like set up a damage phase or whatever.
Yeah. And like my favorite raid challenge, like this got me thinking about it, is probably the Totems challenge from King's Fall. The first encounter challenge from that, because it just has you do everything, and like there's like a complete rotation of everyone doing everything, and I love when you execute on that with your team of 6, like how good that feels.
Yeah, agreed. It's really good. But yeah, other than that, GMs dropped last week, Grandmaster Nightfalls. And I've already done half of them, which is usually how it goes the first week, which is pretty nice. The first day when they dropped, I did the easy ones, quote unquote, which is weird to say, especially these ones, which are Glassway and Proving Grounds, which was never the case before, which is really weird to say, but I would say, well, now I've done the third one. I've done a third one, which is Arms Dealer. We did Arms Dealer. I didn't do that with I did the first two with our friend Twitter group, Jake and Nicole, but then my other one I did with my clan. I would say Arms Dealer honestly felt just about as easy as those two did. Okay. Obviously, like it feels, because by and large it's not dramatically different, but you do have to do the full boss encounter now. That's kind of obviously, like, I would say one of the biggest differences from the previous one, where you could, as soon as you got into the boss room, you could just instant nuke him. You could also like cheese it so he shows up earlier and you can just dunk on him, which you can't do any of that anymore. But like the inclusion of that, the whole thing with that updated strike is now like you have all the ally characters and stuff like running around throughout the different parts of the strike. And I will say, like, I don't know if it's this way in like maybe the base level ones, and like it varies like how much damage they do, but like they were legitimately putting up a fight in Grandmaster at least, which was like not really nice to see. Like they were like in the boss room, I would say they were more like a good like aggro, like because they will draw enemies to them, so you don't have everything coming down on you as a fire team, which was nice. But there are other sequences like it's mainly that sequence when you are like you're kind of outdoors in the middle of the strike. It's like right after you do like the dunking on the fireballs, then you run to the base, and then you're like outside going into the bigger ship. And you're like now it's like that sequence is like you have to grab the fireball and like dunk it in a thing to get a bunch of dudes to help you out. During that sequence, like those dudes like can like we literally had like multiple times where like they engaged in the fight, and we could just go like, all right, let's just see what they can do, and they would just clear out the area for us like nice. At a relatively decent like amount of time. And it's just like, wow, this is kind of cool that they are like this effective in these scenarios, which is cool to see. And I don't feel like it was that way in the other ones. Maybe we just weren't. I'm not paying attention enough, because it's just like a normal strike, so you can just blast through it anyway, no matter what anyway. But it was cool to see in that GM context for sure. So yeah, we did those three. Like definitely the biggest takeaway is like it's really entertaining to think about that lead up to Lightfall and people like being so down on Strand Titan. And boy, does Strand Titan make Grandmaster Nightfalls feel like a fucking joke. Like it's kind of insane. Like they're literally just those first two we did. Corrupted and not corrupted, but Glassway and Proving Grounds, where like literally we would just have scenarios where you have these funnels in different parts of especially in the Glassway boss room, where like enemies just funnel down and you can just like sit there and just rotate. We just had 2 Strand Titans. And also rotating had supers. Yeah, not even supers, just like doing a barricade and stringing them all up. And then if anyone would come down and we still had enemies to fight from being strung up, we just throw a grenade at one of them. Would throw a grenade at them. Then you just throw another barricade up, and then you just have like these loops with like the suspending powers of a Strand Titan that just like make some parts of those counters that were like the most stressful parts just like so breezy now.
That's nice. That's so
It's
nice.
pretty nuts. And like other changes too, like I would point out like improving grounds. When you first get into that tank room, which is always kind of the big stressful part of that GM, right? Like Wish Ender now like is so good because like they already improved it like over season, but like now it like I don't know, I guess it's because however the like multiplier of damage it does, like you can
Yeah.
just shred those little like interceptor like tanks that are like super annoying with
Nice.
Wish Ender now. Like it's crazy, like because I used to like have to waste rockets on it and like stress about like, all right, I need to dump rockets into this and hopefully it hits them because I don't have this right rocket type. Where now it's just like I can just sit there with Wish Ender across the arena, or if I get you get lucky and you don't have to jump down and they just start like in the line of fire from that upper area before you drop down the room, you can just like plink him from there and just take him out. And it was like
Nice.
both times I did it super breezy with because I did end up doing it with both groups to help my other clanmates get through it in with Jake and Nicole, and like both times, yeah, super easy. Compared to that, it was kind of it's kind of definitely nice. Similar stuff in the boss room when you just kind of you just do your similar rotations, but even that was like not as bad because you have Strand Titans, so like you can take care of the unstops that come out fairly more easily now compared to what you had with the power of suspending with Strand. Because now you can like even if you're in a scenario where you suspend it and then you just go, oh shit, fireballs are coming at you. You don't have to like keep fire. You can just kind of rotate and move around, and more than likely they'll still be suspended for quite a while. So you have plenty of time to just go do what you need to do, kind of with that. So it's like really nice. Both ended up being not as bad as it was. Got some decent hung juries out of that. I completely forgot about the updated Adept Cipher stuff. That's like the new drop
Oh yeah.
from those that you'll use to get your Adept drops. The one thing that I will say is kind of unfortunate, and I'm sure might change in the future, was you can hold 10 maximum of those on your character, but once you get those 10, you can't drop them, so you can hold like more in your postmaster. So you can and you need 10 of them to get one extra roll for an adept weapon each week. Which I think it's because it was a double loot week. This is the first double loot week. You were getting like 4 per GM drop, which was nice. But I think on normal weeks it'll just be 2.
Got it.
I'm assuming that's how it'll work, and we'll have to see once this new week starts. But this week will be interesting for sure because like the main one up is Heist Battlegrounds, and that one apparently will have been updated with like its slightly easier modifiers. They're like adding less enemy waves or something into the higher difficulty ones or whatever. So I'm curious how that'll work out. I've definitely seen already people find a super easy cheese for the boss room. So
stand on like the top or whatever.
Yeah, you can stand on this. Yeah, there's like a place you can stand and just lure the boss to, and you just can't do anything. And you can just do that until the phase where you have to dunk the orbs. Then you just take your time to dunk the orbs, and you just go back there, kite the boss back over there, and just cheese him to death. So we'll see if that exists past this, because that might make that even easier. But we'll have to see. I've not looked much into the other ones, which is Hypernet and Lake of Shadows. Lake of Shadows, I'm expecting to be not fun. Hypernet though, I could see being okay. Just like I think some of that just really comes down to like figuring out how to deal with that boss room. But even on earlier difficulties, I feel like I've figured out some nice rotations around the room and stuff. So it might just be a scenario like that where you have to figure out how to move around the room in a way to like do what you need to do damage and stuff. Definitely excited to try that one. Less so the other ones, but we'll see.
Yeah.
How heist the battlegrounds go. But yeah, with doing all that, I got up to Guardian rank 10. I'm a big 10 boy now. Just have a couple last things to do. I have to do a master. I have to do a master raid completion. So I might as well just probably do that. I'll probably just see if I can find people who would just want to kill and fight Nezarec on Master and see if that counts, because it just says complete it. So I'm assuming you can just kind of do the boss clear and be okay. Yeah. Considering I did get doing a Master dungeon completion is also one of the requirements, and I got that cleared, and I'm pretty sure, and I had only ever done Master whatever that boss's name was.
Duality.
No, I did Master Spire as well.
Oh, okay.
Because it does specify it has to be the most current one. So I'm assuming when the
new dungeon comes out.
Yeah, when the new season carries over to get to rank 11 next season, you will have to do a master completion of that dungeon and also complete it solo. That's another requirement to get to rank 11. You don't have to solo flawless it, but you do have to complete it solo. Is one of the requirements.
I do know that was supposed to be retroactive as well.
Yes,
so.
Yeah. Some of that stuff was supposed to be retroactive, and it should be in this patch. I think they said that'll be fixed. So we'll see if because I did. I don't know if, I guess we'll see if that, because I've done master clears of previous raids, if it just does that, but it does say current raids. So I'm assuming it needs to be Master Root of Nightmares. Which is fine, but those are like the two big things, because like the other only thing I have to do is just get commendation scores of commendations for the end game activities, which is once again, here we are again with needing some kind of weird arbitrary commendation thing to show our skill level or whatever. But like it's basically like you have to be given these like the end game ones, so like ones that are only in raids, that are like ally and leadership ones that are like in raids and high level nightfalls and stuff. You like have to get a certain amount of those to meet the rank 11 requirements. But we'll see if I do that. I probably will, but I'm still kind of feeling the the nice kind of this lull in Destiny stuff has been a nice time for me to just like go play other stuff or do other things with life, which has been nice. Like I've been playing some other games. Like I played, talked about it on one of our other podcasts, Trip to Nintendo Land. I played Dredge, which is a really cool indie game, Fish and RPG. I finished that on Steam, on my Steam Deck, which is really nice. Playing Horizon Forbidden West because it's on. They added it to like the PlayStation like subscription, basically the Game Pass for them, where they put their games on there. You can play them as long as you have that like subscription tier. So I started playing that.
Yeah, and that's a good game.
Yeah, it's pretty all right. It's always that weird thing, because we also got that amazing Tears of the Kingdom trailer, and that was like, wow, I really would rather be playing that open world game than this one right now. But here we are. It's fine. It's all right.
For sure.
Just having hard times. But yeah.
And I've been playing all the Pokemon games.
Hell yeah. So yeah,
I did finish Pokemon Platinum, by the way, and
nice.
Cynthia's Garchomp can suck my nards.
I feel you.
Level 62 Garchomp. Get out of here.
Yeah, 14-year-old me really feels you right now. I'll be like, man, Cynthia, you piece of shit.
I hate it's the worst too, because her whole team is like the exact team that I would make.
Yeah,
and it makes me so mad.
That's why Cynthia.
That's why it's good.
Cynthia's still one of the hypest or more recent like Elite Four
hype
ladies.
champions.
Yeah, she was a good one. But yeah, it's been nice. Like we've still been playing some Destiny here and there, but it's nice to kind of. I mean, it's weird. I know it's something weird to say on a Destiny podcast, maybe, but I actually don't mind when there's kind of like lulls and downtime with Destiny to do other things and play other things. And then when Destiny's popping, it's popping, and it's always fun to jump in and play more. Like I'm sure, like I'll still probably play some this week and see how all the new changes and feels. And I might do like a raid run with my clan, but like other than that, I'm not doing like the daily grind or whatever. Like I'm not really doing any kind of stuff like that. Like I feel like I won't really get back to that stuff till like maybe when Guardian Games comes out, but even then I might just focus on the Guardian Games requirements and just kind of that out.
That's what I'm looking forward to as well. Guardian games, and like that's when I'll do all the seasonal challenges that I haven't been doing week to week.
Yeah, same.
And yeah, the only thing that is like killing me that I haven't done is getting all the catalysts for the glaive for Vexcalibur.
Yeah, I haven't done that
because
either.
I already have the glaive at like level 27. So because I love it, I think it's a great weapon. So it's like, I just I want to be able to socket everything into this that I want to put there.
Just put there.
I just can't yet because I just haven't beaten that on legendary, and it's just not a thing that's like right where I need it to be for me to solo it. So I'm gonna try it again after the PvE weapons buff, and then see how that goes, and then assuming, which more than likely I'm not gonna be able to get through it again, I'll recruit some folks to help me, and then just get those done.
Yeah, I've been back and forth on that because I don't really honestly care about the catalyst, but if you get all the catalyst, you get like a cool ghost shell and an emblem. And there's like the ghost is really cool because it's all like Vex networky, like blocky looking. And I would like that, but then the idea of having to do that on Legend 3 times to get all the different catalysts is like, ugh. I'm like, maybe just hope that, like, you know, even if it's end of this season or maybe like a later season, they'll just kind of be like, here you go, just complete it once and you get everything. Like if they ever do that, I'll be like, cool, let's do it. I'm back.
Yeah,
but like,
it's definitely a thing I could see them doing too. It is a bummer, but you know, I like that mission. I do too. The legend version is extra brutal. I think they rough. Like heard people complaining that legend or the exotic missions weren't as hard as they used to be, and they just kind of ticked some meters up a little bit.
Yeah, definitely like way more enemies in that than I feel like any other mission. Yeah, like for sure, that's definitely part of it. Is it's just constant, and like there's multiple times in those some of those encounters. You're just constantly bombarded, and there's like not any downtime. So it's like you got to be on it in a way that's like pretty intense. So
it's that, and then the 2 titles of the season that I want to get. Well, I guess 3, including whatever the Guardian Games one is going to be.
Yeah, because remember if you get the Guardian Games one, then you'll get that overall one, which is what was it? Reveler, which is cool. I did get the Neomuna one done, but I'll probably get that. I'll probably get that Queensguard one as well. I think is the season one.
Yeah, I was gonna ask. I gotta do the Legend battle round today before it switches.
Oh yeah,
the last one. I was gonna ask you, what did you do for the 7-minute run of the one mission? Did you have 2 other people with you for that?
Yeah,
for Virtual Fighter.
Yeah, because me it was actually, I think I randomly did it one day with Nicole and Jake, and doing that because also remember that like doing that mission under 7 minutes, or what is it? Is that what the thing is?
That's one of the triumphs that you need.
The headlong mission is like not like on like a higher difficulty, like when you pick it off the icon. So like that threw us off because we were used to doing the legend one. So like I went in there with me, Jake and Nicole, and like we like did it twice because we ran it the first time and we did so fast that we almost got the platinum like on our own run because it's just like it's like basic difficulty. So now you're like fully leveled, you can just freaking cruise through that and like melt the boss pretty fast with multiple people. And because you get this because it's all strand focused, you get like the buffed version of Strand or whatever. So you can just murder everything in there super fast. And then we ended up doing it twice because we went in there and we were like, oh boy, here we go, let's try and see what happens. And we did it the first time, we were like, holy shit, we like blew through this because it's not on Legend anymore. And then so I think it's definitely doable 7 minutes because we like, again, that platinum time is like only like a couple minutes or whatever.
Yeah, I think it's that and one other triumph I need. I'm not sure
did you do the story mode? I think there's like the story mission on Master is the one.
Yeah, that's the other one that I have to do.
That one, it's not too bad, especially because they like lowered the that was like a patch a week or two ago. Was they lowered the difficulty on a lot of Legend and Master stuff. So that's not too bad, but you'd have to probably LFG for it or recruit some of us. I mean, I'd be down to help you
Yeah.
for some time because it's
Complete a
not.
partition within 7 minutes and complete a campaign mission on Master.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
They're not as bad as they seem. I will say,
Cool.
having done them. But yeah, let's get into these blogs that we got over the past couple weeks.
Yeah.
The big one, which was like 2 weeks ago, I think almost, was a reflecting on a Lightfall blog post that came in, and it basically was kind of a combination of like, here's kind of the pain points that a lot of the community had with like stuff that came out of Lightfall and some of the things, various things that thing, and here's some of the changes we've already made, and here's kind of looking forward to more adjustments to some of these like kind of systems and things, and also some new things they also revealed in here, for the next season, season 21, season of the deep. So we'll just go ahead and go down what they kind of talked about. They started off by talking about Guardian ranks and updates coming to that, and I kind of am just going to read some of this verbatim because I think it was also good to read, because I feel like they talked about Guardian ranks here and there in some of the pre-release Lightfall stuff and some like blogs and articles and stuff, but I think they did not have like a direct like what they have here in this blog, which is like a direct like, here are the goals we have for this system, and like, are they meeting these goals, and like what you know, to set our expectations of what they want this to be and what we should expect for it in the game, right? Like they gave us like some general details, but we didn't really see it till we got it, and now it feels like this is more of their outline for it. So I'm just going to read what they said in the blog here. Guardian ranks should be a useful guide season over season, which means they should reflect the most recent content in the game. Hitting the highest rank you can achieve isn't easy, so you should feel pride in showing it off across multiple seasons. We also expect players would become annoyed if they had to redo all of the basics each season, so we're building in shortcuts to renew ranks you've previously achieved even faster. Yeah, that's definitely a point of it, right? Of like, I get the idea that like they want something to show like you are current with the game season over season, and like as they introduce like raids and dungeons and other things each season. But the idea that like you have to also kind of redo things over and over again, I think is just like
yeah.
I think or like, to be fair, like Destiny has always been a little bit of that, right? But like I think having it be this like very direct track to like show things like makes those like cogs and the like the wheel, so to speak, of Destiny be more direct in a way that like makes it feel like not as fun, I guess, if that makes sense what I'm saying there. But like
Totally.
I think they're right, and they have the right mindset. But let me continue here. To that end, we've refined the goals for seasonal resets. Players should be able to represent their accomplishments across a whole season, and those who've previously completed a Guardian rank should be able to renew that rank quickly in the next season. The social signal should also have meaning each season. That Guardian is rank 8, so they clearly know how to complete a raid. I should join their fire team for the new one. So that's like kind of an example they give. So how will this manifest in the game? When starting a new season, your rank displayed to everyone will reflect your highest rank earned last season. And if you achieve a higher rank than you did last season, it will be your new displayed number. Players renew their previously completed ranks by only completing blue-tinted categories in the Guardian rank progression. Other categories will not reset. Ranks you do not renew will fade at the end of the season. So there you go. So basically how it'll work from now on is if you hit Guardian rank at the end of Season of Defiance, when you start Season of the Deep, you will be displayed as a Guardian rank 11. But to keep that Guardian rank 11, you need to basically hit Guardian rank 11 again in Season of the Deep. But so otherwise, it'll be whatever Guardian rank you get to in Season of the Deep will be what is shown the next season. That's basically how it'll work for now. So let's see. Let's see. Players renew their previous. Okay, I got that part. It says other categories will not reset. Ranks you do not renew will fade at the end of season. Commendation counts will be reset each season to reflect your experience with the newest content. Your commendation score and breakdown will be tracked each season, and you'll only lose a percentage of your commendation score each season, rather than having it reset as the years as having it reset. So
That's good.
yeah, because having to like renew an entire thing of commendations feels weird. Admittedly still feels weird having this like season to season thing. Like I don't, like this is a challenging thing, I think, because I think it is good to have like I think they need to have like a season by season commendation score thing, but like an overall one that is like tracked somehow. And it seems like I'm sure they will get there, because they did show in this, and I think maybe they'll talk about it in this next part, but they did show like there will be a new screen next season that like, at least in your player profile, you can like go see like, here is like your commendation score for Season of the Defiance. And, and I'm assuming like, they'll continue to add seasons on. But I really think they should still have some kind of other thing to show, like, this is your overall commendation score that you could show later on, or something like that. Some kind of overall thing.
Yeah, a lifetime score versus like seasonal score.
Yes. Let's see. As the year goes on, it's important that we track your achievements throughout the seasons. In Season 21, we're adding a new display to the journey that will show your recent seasonal history. This will include Guardian Ranks, Commendation Score, Commendation Breakdown, Seasonal Challenges, and Seasonal Triumph Score. So they'll have like more direct breakdowns of that, and that's cool. I'm glad they will have those numbers for like probably us to see individually to show off, but I would still hope there is like, they will eventually have the other part of this Guardian rank commendation, maybe like ball it up into one main thing to show off. Like, I thought I saw somebody throw out a good idea, because like, if you really think about it, like getting Guardian ranks is basically like a more glorified title, right? Like it is kind of that, like it is set up in a similar way where you're completing these challenges, and once you complete them, you get a number rather than like a title. I saw somebody throw out the idea of like getting basically a Guardian rank title, and then if you get it to Guardian rank 11, that shows like that's basically like gilding. It's like gilded. That's like gilding it, so that way you could, if you wanted to, have this Guardian rank title, and then like gild it to get it to 11 each season to gild it, so you could show it off on top of that. But yeah. I think that could be cool, but I think there could be something more interesting though they could do potentially. But we'll
a thing to go with that, because like Final Fantasy 14 has titles as well, more for like you get certain ones for completing certain story missions, and it's like, okay, you did the thing where you beat the war in Stormblood, so you get the Stormblood title or whatever.
Right.
It'd be cool if like you could display your Guardian rank title and your title of choice together. Like a pair, so it's like Chronicler, Paragon, or even like where the number is, like the circle around it, kind of like what Overwatch does, right? Like would change depending on your Guardian rank.
So it does actually. That's a good point to bring up, because it does do that a little bit already. Once you hit 9 and 10 and even 11 is like a different one, but I think like you could evolve that like one even more, where like it is like it has like, maybe it's like a golden thing, or maybe it has like additional little icons on it to show like
stars or something.
Like you are Guardian rank 11 now in this season, but you also can see these here that show like I was Guardian rank multiple seasons, past seasons as well. Like I think they definitely need something to like reflect that. For sure, which they don't specify here, but I think they at least like recognize that like we will have like these numbers, and we want to show like your individual scores and various things in your account. So I'm hoping that they maybe now that they've done those things, now that they are working on these eventual things to show off that, because I think that'd be cool. And would it feel better as somebody who like wants to achieve those things and like go for would be willing to like try and get Guardian rank 11, like I did get Gilded Conqueror every season, I'd be willing to like do that each season if there's something cool to show off for it.
Yeah.
Or like another idea that I just came to mind because I remembered. I think it was like in the last episode we did, or it was maybe the one before that, where they showed some of the PvP stuff, where you get like a special emblem for getting I think like the higher rank of what in a competitive division. Maybe they could do like a guardian rank like emblem or of some kind, and maybe that can show like numbers and things on it. And like maybe change in a way that you can show that you've done this a bunch. That could be cool. Definitely options. I just hope they're thinking about that stuff and how to reward players who like want to do that stuff. But yeah, that was kind of Guardian rank stuff. Yeah, all sounded good to me, and I will say overall, like a lot of the changes they've made, even in some of the patches over the past couple weeks and months through this season, have been really good changes to kind of streamline getting up Guardian ranks, and those have been nice. And hearing that, like I can kind of get to Guardian rank 11, and kind of it'll show that at least next season you can kind of keep that and like have that prestige for a period of time is nice. But
Agreed.
But yeah, they move on here. They start giving us some new tidbits, some cool things coming, 2 new armor mods. Because as they've stated, with this new armor system, we had plans for more mods, to add more mods. Like, of course, they're going to add that new stuff. So they talk about 2 here, which I think were definitely like requested and also probably highly sought out. And they probably, I'm sure that them at Bungie knew they like need to have mods like these at some point, because their previous iterations were like pretty integral to a lot of builds, right? So here are the 2 mods. The first one is called Powerful Attraction. This is when using your class ability, you collect all orbs of power within a radius determined by the number of copies of the mod you have equipped. And then they have design notes for both of these. These are from like some of the people who brought in. The request for a Seeking Orbs mod that would allow orbs to track to you did not fall on deaf ears. However, adding such functionality to an object that is spawned as frequently in such numbers and for all fire team members, not just the creator, could create memory performance and latency issues. So yeah, that's like a fair thing. And I like this. It's definitely going to be something you have to see in practice, though, right? Of like seeing, like, I want to see when a warlock casts a rift, or a hunter dodges and just a million orbs just fly to them or something. Like what is that radius? Like, I'm sure it is not a thing where we'll just have to see that the actual radius in action once it's in game. These will be in season 21, by the way. They did say that in the blog. These will be 2 new mods in season 21. Being
it's a cool idea, though.
Cool
excited.
idea. Yeah, I like it. Doing a hunter dodge and getting a bunch of orbs flying at you, or doing a tight barricade.
That one, the hunter dodge seems like it's going to be extremely useful.
Yeah.
As always.
Yep. Doing a Titan barricade and just barricade up, and there's a bunch of orbs roll up to
orbs
you.
Come through the barricade.
Yeah. It'd be cool. That'd be really cool. Another one, which I'm definitely interested to see, and I think will like already be a really good one for like incorporating some of the builds I already have, is elemental charges. Collecting the subclass collectible associated with your damage type, so fire sprites, ionic traces, stasis shards, all that jazz, has an escalating chance to grant you a stack of armor charge. On Strand, this is granted by destroying tangles. The frequency of gaining a stack of armor charge is tuned differently for each collectible to count for the differences in frequency and volume of creating these collectibles.
Sure. That
makes sense, because, I would say, like, definitely notice that having played a bunch of the different classes now is, like, you can, on Strand, you can it's pretty easy to make tangles all the time, I feel like, where compared to, like, I would say, like, Void, and I would say, like, on Void in particular, it feels like I'm making a lot less of those breaches as they were, which I understand because of how they work now, where you can literally pick a single one up and you get Devour and Volatile rounds and all this stuff like instantly. So I understand why they maybe don't have those like raining everywhere. And same with fire sprites, where like they feel really even with like the limited capacity you can make them, just like
They're potent.
they are very potent because you just pick one up and you literally just have restoration and one of the ability energy back, and that's like easily done across all classes, right? So it's pretty nuts.
Yeah.
But let's see. Let's move on to our next one here. So they did reiterate that, hey, there'll be new aspects for strand classes next season. They remind everybody, hey, those will be here, so that's cool. Then
very excited about those.
Yeah, very excited about those to see what those are. And then they also are adding in a really requested feature. It's something I think we had brought up when they first brought up seasonal mods, so I'm sure this is something they knew they were going to do. We're already working on once the Lightfall hit, but this is basically making it so seasonal perks you pick out from the seasonal artifact mod now can be individually placed, turned on and off. That's basically what they're doing now. So it's not be a thing where it is right now, where you have to, once you buy a certain amount, you reset it and then have to purchase them all again. That was probably just like a quick and easy way limitation they did to fix that. But now in season 21, it'll just be you turn this on, or if you don't want it, you just turn it off, and then you can just pick the ones you want. That's awesome.
Yeah,
I thought it'd be really crazy how this works with loadouts and stuff. I'm assuming it'll just be these don't save to a loadout. These will you'll still have to kind of turn off and on ones for different things, because I just think of the possibility of people who speed run this game and are already doing crazy things like soloing Nezarec and having to you do these cot swaps with these mods and stuff could be absolutely insane. But I don't think I don't think they'll have that ability, which makes sense. That'd be crazy.
For sure.
Another cool thing they're doing next season, because they said, hey, we're not doing a power increase. 1810 is going to be the power you're at next season, and potentially going forward post that. So that means they can do things like have trials come the first week of the expansion, or not expansion, but the season next season. So that's cool. Grandmaster Nightfalls are going to be week 4 rather than week 7. So that'll be really nice, because I'm always once again reminded that to get these adept weapons, they're just 1 a week again for the season. So if you wanted an adept hung jury, you're already done so. For the season, if you want to, I think this week is the Mindbender's shotgun, which to be fair, not much wants, but
nobody wants that.
The last 2 weeks of the season are the new ones, where it's Buzzard and Swarm are back. If you want those, you got to do them that week, because otherwise you're not.
I guess Swarm could be good in theory, but you know, I assume, I didn't get Adept Hung Jury, but I assume because I have gotten it in the past, I wonder if I could get Ciphers and focus it.
You can, you can.
So, but I don't know. I haven't gotten the gold one, so I don't know.
It'll be it'll you still can, but you won't get a gold one. I know. In particular, they were upset which is also an interesting thing they did, since you brought it up, is they also changed some of the roles Hung Jury could get this season. Yeah. So it cannot get explosive payload in the second slot anymore. It can get Connect Tremors, the new one, which is an okay trade-off, but that is one thing. So if you have a rapid hit explosive payload, or one with explosive payload,
which I do,
definitely, keep that, because you can't get that anymore. Especially, I know they're salty because it was the cool gold one. And you can't get the gold one now either, because it's back to silver or whatever.
Back to silver.
Very weird.
Very weird, yeah.
FOMO and Destiny, baby. One thing to note is they did say for that next season, the gilding node, so basically the ability to freely select which GM you want to do at any time, will still not be till week 7. But you still technically could start gilding it earlier if you want to do them week by week in week 4, which makes
nice.
Sense. Because you still could start earlier if you wanted to. And it'll still also mean, since Grandmaster's open, you'll have more chances at various adept weapons those weeks. So there'll be some extra weeks to get extra adept drops, which is nice.
Yeah.
That some weapons will end up being up twice. And there will be new ones as well, which we'll talk about later, because they did tell us in a TWAB the new Nightfall and weapons and all that stuff. So we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
Let's see. Next up, We get into another big new system they're adding in, which I think has been something people have been waiting for a while. Exotic focusing. We're getting it in season 21. We are finally going to be able to just take exotic engrams to, I think, did they say it's Rahul that does this, or is it somebody else? I'm not sure where it's. I guess I don't know if they said in the blog specifically where it was done at. But basically, you will now have, there will be multiple ways to decrypt. They will have advanced decryption is what they said, and that'll basically be like the, this engram contains exotics from this expansion. It could be armor or weapons, and I think some of them do break down into like this is like if you pull this one, it's like the weapon exotics from this expansion, or it's the armor exotic from this expansion. You can just pull at random essentially from that specific pool. So that's one way of doing it, but there's also you have a specific. If you have gotten the exotic already, you can specifically pull this one out, and try and get better rolls of it, or get better ones if you want, which is nice.
Yeah, and it's gonna cost. Where do the exotic ciphers play into that?
So exotic ciphers, I believe, are with the precision one, which is specifically like pulling out specific exotics. So you basically would be able to choose which if I want this specific armor for the Titan or whatever piece it is, that will cost like some glimmers, and I think shards, and now an exotic cipher, which we now know was also added to this cost.
But you can hold more exotic ciphers after this.
Yeah, you can hold up to 5 of them. I'm assuming they're gonna maybe make more ways to get more of those. You would hope, because I know like right now it is like I think you get 1 or maybe 2 from the season pass.
Yeah.
And then you get 1, and then you just get them from doing the Zur quest, which is like doing like 20 strikes or something.
Yeah, so 21 strikes.
So it's like that's a lot. So I'm expecting them to maybe not maybe update that. Maybe they'll reduce the amount of strikes you need to do for that for now. I very much though expect them to fold that into doing the exotic mission rotator, right? Like that makes a ton of sense for that, right? Because it's exotic focused.
Totally.
You're going to be running those for ciphers and maybe like ascendant shards
crafting
and other things and
stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Makes a ton of sense. They're going to put a lot of that stuff probably in that rotator, or for sure when that comes. But they don't really say that. They don't say that too much around here. But that was the big thing was now you're going to focus them. They will now. It is also worth mentioning that like any source that an exotic engram comes from now will drop as an engram rather than just like if you just one just drops in the ground while you're playing randomly, that'll just be an engram that now goes into like your little engram inventory with like prime engrams and whatnot. But if it's like a Nightfall, or I think if it's like a Nightfall or a Lost Sector drop, it'll still drop as like you get like a random drop of a thing. I think that they clarified that and how that works there in the blog itself. I'm pretty sure.
No, they said that if it's a new exotic, you can't focus it, so you have to you have to just decrypt one from a Lost Sector regularly,
right?
Yeah, in order to get the new one.
Yeah, you still have to do that, but you still have to do that for now. But they did say there'll be another way to acquire newer exotics as well in the future. They didn't outline what that'll be. I hope that's maybe that'll also go to where the exotic mission rotator or something. Maybe you can get new exotics from that or whatever. It'll be nice. I definitely hope they do that. Or I'd rather them just honestly just go back to them dropping as random drops, like give those exotics that can drop at random just a chance to P those. But I guess that would go against the thing they're doing here, though, to getting exotic engrams. So it probably won't be that, actually, now that I think about it. But
yeah, I mean, this is good. Maybe I can finally get necrotic grips that are not a 58 stat roll for the first time in my life.
Yeah.
Which is exciting. They gotta have good stats, right? If you focus any of these and get a 61,
Yeah.
You just spent 3 Ascendant shards and an exotic cipher on it. That's not good.
Yeah, people are gonna be really mad about that. But I wouldn't be surprised they still do.
Yeah, I know. I think that's a thing that they could at least adjust. And this makes me want more sources for Ascendant shards for sure.
Yeah, that's not a bad
I know,
idea.
like they added it to dares, but also they made dares miserable on Legend. Absolutely miserable.
Doing a Legend dares for Ascendant shard.
It's so miserable.
Yeah.
But yeah, or at least like, make it a guaranteed 2 from any Master Nightfall or higher or something like that. I think would be fine.
For sure.
Raise the limit.
Yeah, I think they really still need to raise the limit on a lot of these currencies. They need to raise limits on stuff. They need to have some of the like lower tier currencies that like don't have as much easily acquirable sources. They need to up like the amount those give, in my opinion, like legendary shards, enhancement cores. Glimmer would be fine. Yeah, they need to just up a bunch of those, or like increase the sources of some of those, like that. Just
just make 10 legendary shards drop from every Nightfall run, and then have that go up every difficulty challenge you go up. Like
Yep.
It's fine to give us plenty of stuff. Like I really like, we're going to use it is the thing now, because they have so many more places to use it.
Yeah, exactly. They even now there's so many places to use it, and like I think we talked about it in a previous episode. You did about like using that currencies for like crafting and stuff now, and like now I'm starting to do that too. And it's like, man, this is just I'm burning up cores.
Yeah, I don't mind enhancement prisms being a part of enhancing perks, right?
Right.
But because like those are something that have one use otherwise, right? But now I'm using Glimmer and Legendary Shards for everything. So yeah, they just gotta bring things more in line with one another, which hopefully they are working on. I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure there will be another like currency adjustment pass. They're probably just seeing how this stuff all shaked out. And like,
I don't miss the Doritos for sure.
Yep. Don't miss a lot of those currencies. I agree.
This little note here has me excited that we're upgrading more than 15 of our lower performing exotic armors
and rolling out balance changes to several others. Yeah. Good to see that as well. I was definitely hoping to hear about the because we didn't really get much exotic armor updates with Lightfall, which made sense because they were doing a lot of other stuff. But like now I'm sure that was coming at some point, but I'm sure that will be a season 21 thing that we'll probably hear about soon. I wouldn't be surprised if that's maybe like one of the blogs right before the season drops. They go like, here's a bunch of armor and exotic tuning stuff.
My May column should just be titled "Sanguine Alchemy Meta."
Vesper of Radius meta. Or what's the Titan Helm? That's a meme.
Oh, Eternal Warrior meta. What's he cooking?
Let him cook. Let him cook with Eternal Warrior. It's just they kind of closed off this blog with a couple of those little snippets of like 15 more of our lower performing exotic armors, rolling out balance changes. We'll have some exciting news for players who enjoy improving their raid and dungeon exact drop chances through triumphs. It's cool. And we're
doing good stuff with that.
So. Yeah, I'm sure they will probably just. My guess is they will probably, whatever the raid that is being reprised, they will probably like add a bunch of. They will probably make like how they have with Root of Nightmares in the dungeons, where like you do the triumphs. They will give you increased chances.
Make it retroactive for the other ones as well.
Make it retroactive. So that means like a lot of people probably already have those done. They can just already have increased chances at those drops, which would be cool.
Yeah.
And then the last thing they said is we're taking a pass at team unfriendly Vanguard bounties requiring specific weapons, ability kills, and more. I like that because I actively ignore the like get scorch kills and get state volatile round things. It's like I love like all of those like synergy things, but like having to like actively chase those things in a way that like you're like you feel like you're forced into them than just like doing the stuff you want to be using and stuff. Like that just does not
Especially
feel fun. So
ignitions are like, unless you're building
that
for
too.
ignitions, it's like so hard to do them.
Yes. Getting random weakens or suppress enemies a bunch. It's like, all right, so I'm just gonna basically have to get my super
Run suppressor grenades.
It's like it's very specific things that they're not that fun to like try and actively chase rather than just kind of do them organically. But yeah, that was the Lightfall reflecting on blog. Good blog overall. I definitely recommend reading through it if you want more specifics.
Yeah, I gotta go through it still.
If you haven't,
to be honest,
if you haven't already, but a lot of it is like this is kind of the biggest newest snippets they gave, but a lot of it was also like here's things we've done. Like they talked about difficulty and like like a lot of changes they already made, and like I think there were like a couple things where it was like that are coming with this mid-season patch. So some good stuff.
We didn't mention it, but they did mention new accommodation, Best Dressed, which is great.
Yeah. They talked about a little bit more in the blog, one of the TWABs. Okay. So I do have a little bit about that from that TWAB. So we'll talk about that in a bit.
Love it.
But first, because we're basically catching up on the last 2 weeks of weekly blogs they did. The first one they did that we missed out on. The main thing was they just gave us the usual overview of like here are the weapons leaving, like end game content rotations, and here's the new ones coming. So they gave us a preview of some new stuff, some cool things in here.
Mm-hmm.
So first to keep in mind, the weapons leaving are Mindbender's Ambition and Malicious Birthright. Those are honestly I'm totally cool. Oh, excuse me. I'm totally cool with both of those leaving because they were like fine, but not like crazy. Malicious Birthright had some cool rolls, but like
yeah, I'll vouch for Malicious Birthright. I got like quick draw, auto loading, blinding, which is really nice.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool roll for sure.
Yeah, just because it's like boom blind and it's gone again.
Yeah.
And it's already reloaded by the next time you need it. So yeah, if you haven't gotten Malicious Birthright yet, there's some good rolls on there. Yeah. Mindbender's Ambition sucks. So don't worry about that.
Don't worry about that. They did point out the weeks. So Mindbender's Ambition will be up this week, the 18th. That'll be its final week up to get it. So if you have not gotten one period and just wanted for collections or something, like there you go. But also it'll probably be added to Legacy focusing next season, so you might be okay. And then Malicious Birthright is May 2nd, so it's the week. I think that's just the week after this, or is it 2 weeks? It's 2 weeks.
That's 2 weeks.
So yeah, it's not the week after this, but it's not the 25th, but the week of the 2nd. So 2 weeks. You can go get one of those. And then we have this week. Then we have Trials, which is the Inquisitor shotgun. Final week is is of the 9th. So that's also 2 weeks away. Or no, the week after that one. So 3 weeks away. And then the Bow Whistler's Whim, which apparently already came and went. So if you didn't get it, pour one out. Then we have we have Iron Banner, which I think there is still one more week of Iron Banner left.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So that'll be the weapons leaving there will be the Hero's Burden submachine gun and the Wizened Rebuke fusion rifle. I definitely will try to get that Hero's Burden if you haven't got one of those. There's some decent rolls on that.
Yeah, I did get. Because we talked about it last time we recorded. I think the Feeding Frenzy volatile rounds. Flow, whatever, destabilizing rounds.
Yeah.
I did get that roll on what's it called? Hero's Burden, and it was like literally my last after I gilded Iron Lord, I went and turned in my very last engram was that roll. And I was like, oh thank God. I don't have to go back.
Yeah. That's good.
I was having a great time with Eruption, I will say, for the record. But
yeah,
it was just I played for like 4 hours straight.
Yeah. I would say I definitely had I remember that too. I had a binge fest of some Iron Banner as well when that came up, just to get because I actually did gild that title. Finally.
Yeah. It's good with Volatile Flow. It's very fun. There's a lot of explosions.
So. Yeah, it's pretty fun. I have a Feeding Frenzy Repulsor Brace roll that I actually really like as well. Because I think Repulsor Brace is still a slept-on perk, in my opinion. But
Yeah.
I digress. Wise Rebuke, I don't really have much to say about, so that's fine.
Yeah.
We have one
There's
more.
like
You have one more week to go get those if you want them. So
there's the new hotness, the rapid fire frame linear fusion rifle that is like very good.
The Neomuna one. Yeah, I still have to. I believe I can craft one of those, but I still got to do that.
I'm working on that one. Yeah,
and
grinding public events or whatever patrols.
And then the last one they have leaving here is Rose from the competitive PvP playlist, because that is, as they said, I think in that PvP blog they said that's being swapped out of competitive next season, and then it'll be a new sniper rifle of some kind. I forget exactly what they said it was, but
yeah,
new sniper rifle will be the new weapon to go for out of that. That's cool.
It'll be in Legacy focusing. I think it'll be gone for a season, and then it'll be in Legacy focusing. Yeah. So if you missed it, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, it'll be back at some point for sure. And now we have the new weapons coming in. So the new weapons, we have the two new Nightfall weapons. We have the Braytech Osprey rocket launcher and the Loaded Question fusion rifle. Those are both returning weapons.
Okay.
I think the Braytech was a Nightfall gun at some point earlier in D2, and Loaded Questions was like a ritual, one of the OG ritual weapons. So it only had, it's like Buzzard and another gun they've done now where they only had specific perks, but now it'll drop as an adept version with like random rolls and stuff. So that'd be pretty cool. That I remember that being at least at the time, it was a well-liked fusion rifle. So I know there'd probably be people that are like stoked for that. I was not really playing as much during that era, I want to say, when that was a big deal. So I'll get one, I'm sure, playing all that stuff. Then we have a new Vanguard playlist weapon, Positive Outlook, Avoid Precision Auto Rifle. So you got another auto rifle dropping in the playlist, in the Crucible or the Vanguard playlist there. That's pretty cool.
I'm hopeful that the auto buff makes precisions and aggressives in PvE feel much better, because I feel like they struggle. I love them in PvP is the thing I've found recently, just how they feel there, and since the damage is kind of more set there. Seven Seraph Carbine is a precision kinetic auto that I love in PvP. So it's potential that this could at the very least be good in PvP, but here's hoping.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. I'm hopeful for that too. And since it's like a Vanguard one, that you'll see that all the time, right? So just pop up. That'll be like a cool one to probably go after. After that, we have Gambit as a strand linear fusion rifle. Interesting.
Very cool.
Gambit's getting a strand weapon. That's pretty cool. So we'll have to see what that's all about when it drops. Crucible is getting Randy's throwing knife, which is another very popular old Destiny.
This one
gun.
I know.
Yeah, that was a really popular one. So now I think it'll have random rolls.
Random rolls. It'll be dropping all the time.
And it'll drop it all the time. Yeah, because it's just a Crucible gun. Yeah, that'll be kind of nuts. But yeah, cool for that. And then we have Trials. We have a new Arc Glaive for Trials, which is definitely interesting. Because I would not say glaives are used a little bit in PvP, but I feel like they're not seen as like a PvP weapon, right? So it's interesting that they're like putting one in Trials to maybe try and push it or show it off as a more PvP weapon with this. I guess we'll see, but interesting.
Since the damage resist nerf in PvP, it's tougher to use glaives. That's for sure.
Yeah, interesting choice for sure there.
I'll have to get it.
Yeah, I know. So. Glaive gang. Gotta stick with it.
I'll report back next season.
And then they're bringing back Messenger, great pulse rifle. If you didn't get one before, it'll be back, and with that pulse rifle buff, probably even better. So that'd be cool.
Probably kinetic tremors or something on that.
Be interesting to see what new perks it has. Yeah, that's a good point. I'll definitely might go back for one of those. And then we have Iron Banner next with a Strand fusion rifle. It's another new Strand weapon. Fusion rifle, very cool. And then Swarm of the Raven Void rocket grenade launcher coming back. And then competitive is getting that Arc Sniper rifle, like we mentioned, which is pretty cool. Yeah. So here you go. bunch of new weapons. Um, they'll be fun to try out. I'm looking forward, as always, to new loot. I know people are always like, it's like reissued guns, man, like whatever. They'll have new roles. There were not adept versions of a lot of these weapons prior that I'm mostly interested in, right? So like I think that'll make a lot of differences to those. And that'd be cool to have them. I totally don't mind them doing that as a way to like bring the weapons back in a more modern sense, like when they take them out of that old era into the new era and give them a new time to shine sort of deal.
Yeah.
I'm totally cool
And
with that
origin
stuff.
perks and stuff. And if like the competitive sniper is like Rose, where instead of having an origin trait, it has like grips or something like that, like
Yeah.
that's going to be interesting. And certainly make it. And plus, that's like we're getting a 10% sniper buff next season or something. So
Right. Yeah.
that's gonna be exciting. Yeah, I'm curious. The Strand Fusion rifle is probably the most exciting outside the glaive on there for me, and we don't know what archetype it is. So
yeah, they didn't say.
Hopefully it's rapid fire, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, very cool. Always cool to get some new seasonal playlist weapons. Yeah, and grab those other ones if you haven't yet, if you want them. But then we had the blog from last week, from the 13th. This had two big things to point out here. This was mainly a big talk in the PvP community, where these tools, these kind of auxiliary sort of controller things that are mainly called Zim and Cronus, I think are what they're called. And basically, like in most video games and other things, they are used more as like accessibility things to help with like aim and control for people who are who need those extra assistance from those kind of tools to play games. But in some first-person shooter, PvP competitive games, they can be abused by players to like get an advantage. And like I think again, there's way more PvP minded creators out there. Like I would say, like Astrocross specifically put out a pretty good video that like broke it down better than I think I could here, and shows it off visually as well, of like showing like you think of like when you shoot a Destiny gun, or most guns in any video games, you have recoil. So when you're shooting it, it kind of patterns up and shoots up, and you just straight up shows like when you have one of these things on, you can set it to where it has 0 of that. So you can just like shoot straight, or if even it does recoil up, you're like you have like perfect straight aim on the weapons, and it like forces that in the game more or less to like kind of basically override some of those natural things that they intend for the weapons to have. You can kind of overact those, normally for most games, you can, that might be an accessibility helpful thing. But you can also use them to kind of get an advantage and PvP. But ultimately, Bungie breaks it down where like they are going to be essentially looking for people who are using them for these like more advantation and kind of not good ways, and straight up just banning them from the game. They're going to do their due diligence to keep these things out here from kind of ruining PvP experiences. A lot of other games were already doing this, and that was kind of a lot of where the talk came from. Of like, as soon as like I think it was like Activision or Call of Duty people were like, hey, yeah, we're going to ban these, and I think another like big FPS game did it as well. So that eventually led to people in Destiny being like, hey, come on, Bungie, what are you going to do about this? And so here it is. It's a response.
Yeah.
I think Bungie's very, very big about accessibility, so I think they're doing it right by like being like, we are gonna look for ways to like make sure we're not just banning anybody and everybody, because there are people who have legitimate issues and disabilities who want to play, but have to use these extra things to do so. But there are also plenty of people who are just going to use it for ill-gotten reasons.
Yeah,
and they're going to go after them. That's always a good thing.
Yeah, I wonder. Like, I assume cheating is just much more of an issue on PC, because I feel like I very rarely run into it.
Yeah, it's much more of a PC thing there, because there's a lot more freedom to things you can put on a computer compared to like an Xbox or a PlayStation, right? So like they can just do a lot more easier things there. It definitely can exist on consoles, but it's definitely much more prevalent in PC spaces for sure. And then the last thing, like you brought up, they did talk more about the best dressed commendation in this TWAB, which was a fun read. But basically, they kind of broke down like best dressed commendation are also restricted to what we call low trust activity, match-made activities that don't rely on significant communication or team play, not raids and dungeons, not Trials of Osiris. If you think your clanmate is the best dressed, you can just tell him this. This isn't a high reward. Best dressed is about giving strangers a compliment. That's like the little point I brought up, just to make it known that like this will be more of in like General Crucible or Gambit or Vanguard strikes and stuff. Yeah. But it won't necessarily be for like a raid thing, which is fine.
They should put in raids though.
Yeah, that would be a fun one to do because I definitely would have been pretty toxic about it. I've been like, hey. I'd have been like,
hey, look at me.
Yeah, look at me. I don't care don't look at my DPS. I don't care. Look at my drip.
Look at this drip.
Look at this drip here. Okay. But yeah, those are our TWABs. Those are our all the info we've kind of caught up on a little bit. There is one thing I wanted to bring up, which is not like the most fun topic, but I think it's worth talking about because it's been definitely the talk of recent days here. It's been the weekend, as you'll know. A lot, and some of it does come back to a lot of the information we've been getting over the past few weeks, and it's all dealing with leaks that happened. It was back in March. We're not going to get into specifics. I'm not going to sit here and be like, here's what was in the leaks. Blah, blah, blah.
Yes. Because I still don't know.
Yes. Yeah. I'm not going to say anything. I have looked at them. I looked at them a while ago. I have my weird brain of like, I like being informed on the current things. So it's just my brain's broken. So I have to look at these things, but I
totally get it.
But I'm in a way, like, I'm not going to sit here and tell people about it. I don't want to like sit here and ruin people who like want to genuinely be excited about these things or, other things like that. So, just a straight up point on this, like, when I want to bring it up here because it is like a big point that's going on in the community. But like ultimately, whenever these kind of leaks happen, we might bring them up in this capacity, but we will not explicitly talk about them. I think it's worth saying, like, that'll just not be a thing we do here on this podcast. So deal with it.
We have plenty of information directly from Bungie to talk about.
Exactly. We will talk about it when it's official news that they've shared. But yeah, basically these leaks happened. I think it was like early March it happened that these started coming out. And basically we have now learned that these leaks came from an internal Bungie like content creators summit that happened. Yeah. Basically showed off like some slides and other things that had a lot of information about next season, mainly a lot of other things that are coming next season and even beyond that. Pretty there's interesting information, I would say, but I would say now knowing that it came from a creator summit definitely had me shaking my head because it was not like mind-blowing stuff at the same, like worth breaking an NDA over, which is what seemed to be what is happening. But also now it is like even more muddied because the person that was accused has now like gone on to say they have not done it, and like in some ways like makes sense because they are like a pretty prominent content creator in the scene who have been playing for many years. They've been to multiple summits and nothing have not been leaking all this stuff years prior, but they were found out basically because in the screenshots you can see some of the taskbar of their computers and stuff, because it is like a screenshot like taken from like a phone or something, which is even weirder. And basically this person was found out because they I guess Bungie sleuthing found some of their streams and found footage of their things through that to basically feel like they have enough to go on. Bungie have said like it is closed. It is not. They're not like pursuing like legal action towards this person. They have been permanently banned from the game as of right now, from what we heard. But there's also now been cries of they said they did not do this. And there's something else going on, and like it's not hanging up. So we don't know about all that stuff. interesting thing to say. I will say ultimately, yes, that is kind of my mind on it. Of like leaks happen. You know, a lot of leaks that have happened with Destiny previously were not from this style of thing where we know they came from a content creator summit and explicitly like Bungie tweeted from an official account about like these leaks being from a creator thing where like there have been major leaks in the past, like namely for the Witch Queen and stuff, that they did
Yeah.
not like come out in the open to explicitly talk about this like this, because so I think like those were like legitimately from internal Bungie employees that leaked that stuff to people, where this is like I think a completely different scenario, and why they would now be pushed to say something through an official channel to be like, hey, we don't condone this, and this like has a lot of issues on how we conduct these content creator things in the future, and this also affects a lot of creators now that would be the ones going to these things and these summits that are under NDA, and they shouldn't be sharing that information or letting this information get out. But yeah, unfortunate thing to happen. Yeah, very very unfortunate thing to happen, and like it's just a weird time to see all this stuff going down, and I don't know what to make of it, because I can't really say one. Besides, I would say ultimately, like again, having seen the leaks, as interesting as some of the stuff is, again, it came down to really is like it was not worth breaking an NDA
Yeah.
for overall, because like you could really boil it down to like spoilers. They're putting new guns and things into the looter shooter video game. You guys, it's
Yeah.
crazy. What are they gonna do next? Like it really boiled down to that. So it was like, I don't know. It's a weird thing.
Yeah. I assume, well, I guess we won't necessarily, I won't speculate on what was shown, but yeah, it's weird. I've been doing the video game thing for a long time, right? And I've certainly been in rooms where, like, at the time, I did not realize I was in a room where what was being said was off the record. But after things were said, it's like, okay, I know personally that this is off the record,
Yeah.
and it's stressful, and it's even another layer. Like in my 12, 13 plus years, I've never once signed an NDA,
Mm-hmm.
right, outside of maybe like for a beta, which is a slightly different thing.
Yeah.
So like this was like a community summit hosted by Bungie where everyone signed a thing, and it was done over Discord, it sounds like, so it's not like an in-person event, so more people get access to it, and they specifically try and do reach out to people from like the lower popularity bracket to the highest of the highest popularity bracket to try and get some level of a cohesive opinion that represents a larger version of the player base, which is good. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where we on the outside, everyone and the internet is certainly so good at taking a thing and running with it, but we should not make assumptions anyway,
Yeah.
in any direction, and kind of let the people involved handle it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to necessarily throw too much criticism around how some things have been handled over the weekend, but like there was some reporting that came out that did kind of name specific names, and I just don't feel great about that. I feel like that's going to cause more trouble, and
Right.
I feel like it has, and I it's a little irresponsible, and I just think that if you now know who is involved and who's being accused or whatever, you should very much not like get yourself involved, because it's not going to help anyone. It's going to
Right.
make it worse. And if there is a question as to whether this person or that was responsible for it, that then the people that are involved should be the ones that handle it. I know it definitely sours a lot of people, right? It's a bad feeling either way, whether you're like, man, fuck this person for ruining something or for breaking trust and making it harder for other creators, or fuck Bungie for banning this person, when I've seen the sentiment of like the only thing that I get excited about for Destiny now are the leaks, and it's like, oofa doofa, let's maybe take that back a little bit.
Yeah.
um yeah, it's just like us even us talking about it and reporting on it, or people getting on Twitter and with their pitchforks and stuff, all of it can make it worse. So, be responsible out there. We obviously all care about this, and some people really hate leaks. Some people are very in favor of them, and ultimately you should just stay the fuck out of it.
Yeah, pretty much. Like they consider it closed, but as Bungie has said, maybe they will do more. And now that like you said, this now that names and direct things are out there, the person themselves that were accused were out there like saying things like, I don't know if that's going to change things or if it's just going to be how it is. Like we'll just like you said, it is. For me, yeah, I'm with you 100%. Like it is kind of in their fields, and they will do what they need to do on both sides, the person and Bungie as a company, and they will figure it out. It's all for them now. I'm not involved. I don't know if anybody directly involved. We've never been to any of these. I've not really signed an NDA for seeing any stuff either. Like I saw leaks a while ago and saw them and went like, okay, yep, leaks, okay, yeah, and then moved on, and then this has erupted in a way because it has erupted in the they've been showing things, and now that is like confirming things that were in there. That means it's doing this and that, and then you get Bungie's thinking that it's kind of spiraled over the weekend, but it is what it is. Leaks are usually not fun in some way, shape, or form, even if the information is exciting. But it is it should not be. You shouldn't go out of your way to leak things for a video game.
It's at the detriment of real human beings that worked very hard on those things, that wanted to surprise and delight or do whatever, or have a moment for those things, right? I remember the different kind of leak, right? When like PlayStation puts something up different, like that's a very different thing, and that's just kind of an accident, and things cascade from there. But like when the Season of the Haunted trailer went up early, and then Bungie posted it, I like seeing that for the first time through Bungie was like way more exciting than like hearing about it
right
outside of that, right? Of like, oh, we're going back to the Leviathan and Callus is back and all this stuff, like different circumstance for sure, but like the people that worked on that trailer and that had been remaking Leviathan from the ground up for months and months and months, like wanted that to be shown the way it was supposed to be shown.
Yeah.
For example, so just remember that. Like it makes me think of like the leaked art book that happened recently for Tears of the Kingdom, right?
Mm-hmm.
It has like I don't know too much about it, but it's like a character in there that their name has been revealed prematurely and stuff like that. And it's like, man, what a total bummer.
Right.
I don't know that, but like for the people that worked on that, this big surprise that you were kind of planning has now been kind of undercut for a lot of people.
Right.
It's just almost always never a good thing, and it sucks to wait. And the video game industry is way too secretive for sure. But sometimes for the people working on the thing, it's better to just play by the rules.
Yeah, just let them do their thing. I'm sure Bungie has been good about surprising and having cool moments and sharing cool moments, and like thinking about like having cool moments and trailers and other things that they've revealed through blogs and stuff, like not spoiled for us, and having cool moments. Like that's what they want. And again, it feeds into marketing and whatever. So I get like there's a cynical take. There's a cynical take for sure, but at the same time, like it is okay to just let them do their thing and enjoy a thing, and it's fine. And like you said, like there's ways to be cynical and excited about it, but there's also ways to be shitty about it, like you said. People being like, oh, I'd rather get the leaks, man. Ugh. Like that's terrible.
Ugh.
Yeah. It's a gross way to look at it. But yeah, anyway, I think that's like all we have to really talk about this week in the world, or past couple weeks in the world of Destiny. We'll be back next week. We'll talk about, I guess, whatever all the changes that went up mid-season, whatever, if they give us any other details in the blogs and stuff, and we'll be back for another Helm Tower podcast soon.
One last thing. My Destiny review of Lightfall is done. finally.
finished in the
Um,
books.
It'll be out. It should be out this week that this episode goes up. It's very
Yes.
long. I tried to make it, very comprehensive. I talked about a lot of the stuff I've talked about on the podcast, like how everything was super negative up front and how that made things super shitty, and like took a step back and really looked at the campaign for what it is and tried to be critical of it. I put a lot of hard work into it. So, go check it out. It's going to essentially be my column for March and April because I took a very long time to work on it.
Mm-hmm.
So go check it out on
That's
irrationalpassions.com
right.
if you like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, go read Alex's article. It'll be good. Or review. Read it all out here in the world of Destiny. But yeah, we can talk maybe more about that stuff next week potentially. But yeah, we've also talked about plenty of it for sure as well. But we'll talk about whatever else is coming up in the world of Destiny this week. And we have the mid-season patch, which we'll talk about, and maybe whatever else comes our way. But thanks everybody for either watching here on YouTube or listening on podcast services. See you next time. Bye-bye.